Yeah, my name is Eugene. Before the podcast starts, I want to let you know where you can find our podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, so make sure to follow and subscribe to all of our channels. You can also check us out on Twitter and TikTok at Spin the Rock to get updates about episodes and previews of our show. All of the links can be found in our description. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Spin the Rock podcast. I am your host, Angel, and with me today is
Eugene?
Tyler?
And Vaughn.
drums are playing, trumpets are playing because we are finally in video. 5
sir.
episodes and we are in video. I mean, it's kind of a good thing we wait until 5 because that means we've been doing Spin the Rock for a month now. So that's
Long time coming already.
Yeah, that's exciting. Boys, we are in the dog days of the off season. We are in where the only news is that Karl Anthony Towns and Young Gravy were roommates and people are in Pro-Am games. That's how you know we're in the dog days of the off season.
The worst time, I swear, man.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty rough. I was kind of worried though. I was like, who knows? Maybe something will come out like right before we record, but nothing, nothing at all.
No, bro.
So we're gonna get straight into the hot seat. This is another reason why video is coming out is because now you're gonna see what the episodes are gonna be like most of the time during the off season. It's gonna be mostly just hot seat and our topic. So this video came at a good time actually. And our hot seat question for today, starting with Eugene, kind of tying in with the topic of a look back. Who was your MVP last season?
Who won MVP last season?
Jokic.
I mean, that's kind of hard to debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's putting up numbers no big should put up.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm to throw out another name, it would be Luka because he took the Mavs to the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So if not Jokic, it'd probably be Luka.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Luka was going crazy last season.
Yeah, he's going absolutely berserk.
So I got Joel Embiid this year. I think it really could have been a toss-up between those two centers, but I think it was definitely Joel Embiid, considering his supposed running mate was supposed to be Ben Simmons, and he just sat out the whole time. And you didn't get James Harden until later in the season. So, like these 40-point performances, like no one could guard him this season. It felt like his own worst enemy is just was exhaustion if he's making it like all 4 quarters playing at that high level. And I don't think anyone assumed they'd do as good as Embiid could take them, because Ben Simmons is out. What's Joel Embiid going to do? This is another wasted season, which I feel like the Sixers do waste his seasons a lot without putting star power around him. But I think just this year, Embiid can be he's eligible to be on first team, but because Jokic is MVP, he's
take the spot.
and for some reason, the voters will vote Embiid at center. They can vote forward, but because they don't do that, Embiid gets shitted on second team every year. So maybe this coming season he's first team.
I ain't gonna lie. Vaughn took the answer right out of my mouth. I was gonna say Embiid also because him and Jokic were going at it, especially toward the second half of the season. But like Vaughn was saying, exhaustion. I also feel like he's injury prone though. But when he's on though. And Luka was a good one too, especially because of what they've done. And I believe they were the 1 seed, if I'm not wrong, last year, or was it? It was Dallas, right? They were
for who?
For the West. It was them, right? The Mavericks. Were they
the Mavs? No.
Was it or was
no.
it
Jazz?
It was
Jazz.
I think
it was the Suns.
Wasn't it the Suns? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Suns.
Oh, it was the Suns. Well, they were top 3 seed though, for sure though. So
like 3 or 4 or something like that.
yeah, because I seen this
They were
thing. It was
4, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I seen this thing. It was like for the first time. Or they're doing like this thing from 5 years from now or 5 years ago to today, and the top three teams in the West were the very bottom, and then this year they were the top three. So, but anyway, that's not really the point. But Luka's a good answer too. But I'll say Embiid as well. Especially I feel like he doesn't get talked about enough for MVP. Like sometimes there'll be some people who will say who or put him in the MVP conversation, but it just like with the people around or with the team that he has around him, he's doing what he can. So I'd say Embiid personally.
Yeah, Embiid was on a tear last season. I think it was just kind of tired because I feel like the media hates Embiid. Like they despise him.
Yeah.
So I feel like he finally was able to like go out there and shut him up because he was doing insane things last season. Like both you and Vaughn said, like Vaughn mentioned how he was basically by himself the first half, and then the second half, even with Harden, he was like his numbers didn't change that much. Like he was putting up insane numbers. I'm going with Jokic, obviously. Shocker. Major shocker. Like Eugene said, he's doing things that like centers weren't even capable of doing like 10, 20 years ago. Like he's like doing crazy assists, like dishing out dimes, and like even though he looks like a deer when he's running into the paint, he's still able to finish like super strong. And I don't know. Jokic is doing the same thing. I feel like Jokic gets disrespected so much, though.
Probably like the most physically deceiving player. Because if you were to see him and not know who he was, you wouldn't think he'd be a top guy in the league. Like, come on. Everybody's supposed to say
like literally like the best player, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the best. Like that would throw me off, bro.
Exactly. So
yeah, no.
Which Jokic would you rather have? Would you have this past season Jokic or the Jokic first MVP?
His first MVP? Ooh.
I would probably say this past season, just because I feel like he was by himself this past season. So he like Murray
do more.
Yeah. So like I feel like this proves like that he's a good player. Like the disrespect should stop after the disrespect should stop now. I see people all the time being like Jokic is the worst MVP, as if there hasn't been worse MVPs.
There's some people who like I was about to say there's some people who shouldn't even have won MVPs. Like my dad, like I ain't gonna lie, my dad still be mad that Nash won 2 MVPs.
Bro, should have been Kobe.
That's what I'm saying.
Should have been Kobe.
That's what me and my dad be talking about sometimes.
Yeah,
like, no hate on Steve, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
Steve's like that, but come on.
No, facts. Like people need to like just because you can barely say his name doesn't mean he's a bad MVP. Like, chill out. Well, moving on to best. What we're doing this episode is we're looking back from the past 10 years and ranking our top 3 best ship winners from 2012 to 2022, and just to see like who we got in 3, 2, 1. I feel like there should be some diversity because 10 years is a long time. Like a lot has happened in the NBA since 2012. So starting with Vaughn. Oh no, not Vaughn. Starting with Tyler, who do you got for your number 3 ship win?
Number 3, I put it low because it was kind of recent, but I put not this season, but this past season's win, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns. It was mainly because like I mainly based that opinion on Giannis and how his career has like steadily been improving every single year, because beforehand he already had won his most improved player, which I believe was 2017, and then 2 seasons later he wins his first MVP, and then in the bubble he went back to back with a defensive player of the year and an MVP, and then just seeing his growth throughout his career is amazing. And he's only 27, and he won and he won a championship already. If he were to retire today, he already have a Hall of Fame career. And his performance that he put in Game 6 was just amazing. 50 points, and then I just feel like he also didn't have to take any shortcuts. Like he stayed with the team, and then he just improved every single year. And then he even won with some old teammates. Like they just stuck through it, and then they earned the fruits of their labor with this one. So it was a great matchup in my opinion. Both teams were good, but yeah, I'd say that's my number 3.
I think what makes that even better is because like that's a small
Market. Yep.
Milwaukee. Like that place isn't getting free agents. You got to really build that team up, and Giannis could be like, nothing's happening here. I'm going elsewhere. Like,
Exactly.
He could have done that, but he stayed homegrown, and it paid off in the end.
Exactly. And he wasn't, and he already wanted to, like, he was already wanting to win another one. Like, I remember that speech. So,
Yeah.
it's good to see they got something in that squad. So,
It was insane to watch Giannis basically like get better and better, and like the accolades just growing over time.
in his young career, which is, I think, is just phenomenal to see. He's one of a kind for sure.
Oh yeah, like that man is. I'm excited to see where, like, when he retires, how many more accolades he's gonna have, because this isn't gonna be the only ship win, and it's definitely not gonna be like the only time he's even in the finals. Like, Giannis is an insane player. Like,
The reason why he's the Greek freak. Like he shouldn't be here. No one can be him.
Yeah, like definite freak of nature. like
oh, for
like
sure.
Shaq freak of nature type shit.
Nah, literally.
My number 3, I put the 2014 Spurs win when they dismantled the Heat.
That's a good one.
I mean, I like it because I feel like there's a lot of, it's like a redemption arc. They lost in 7 the year before. And then they also, like, the Heat was like 8-0 at home that playoffs. Like, they didn't lose a single time at home. And then, like, just to come in and like dominate, like they dismantled that Heat. I mean, LeBron James was the only one who was actually doing good that entire series. Like, Wade and Bosch like disappeared. Like, I'm like, he left the next year. Like, and
That was the ring where Kawhi got Finals MVP, right?
yeah.
Yep, at 22 years old, I think.
And that was also
Yeah,
the
that's
series where he was like, basically, he became a 3-point god. Like, that man was shooting threes like crazy. Like, it came out of nowhere.
That was
So,
that was the series where I think there's that famous clip of LeBron looking back at Kawhi checking. He's like, "Fuck." So
I think it was.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about
I think it
too.
was that final. Yeah, he's at the free throw line. I remember that clip.
It's the same. No. It's the same finals where LeBron had a heat cramp inside a stadium.
Yeah, I remember that.
And people were clowning him for complaining about how hot it was in the arena.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, to gentlemen sweep the Heat. Oh man,
crazy.
Like, let's be honest, they were fully healthy. To gentlemen sweep.
Oh no, right? Yeah, that was just a crazy, just like a win for that organization. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At that time, yeah.
So that's my number 3.
For my number 3, I have. It would have been different had it been a different outcome, but I have the Raptors versus the Warriors.
That's a good one.
Because I feel like watching, even though there were a lot of injuries that were happening during those finals, you know, with Clay and KD getting hurt, it was still cool to see Kawhi completely turn the Raptors around after the trade deadline, you know, throughout the second half of the season, and then work his way through the playoffs. You know, had that crazy bounce around shot in the first round against the Sixers. And then just, you know, eventually work up to that chip. But I do think if the Warriors were healthy, they definitely would have won.
Oh yeah. KD was
like by far. Yeah.
That boy wasn't missing before he popped his Achilles, man.
Do you think, Eugene, that they would have dominated, or you think it would have still gone to 6 games?
Maybe 6. I think it would have been 4-1 though. I ain't gonna lie.
4-1.
Yeah, I think it would have been 4-1.
I think that's fair because they did win a game against them before they were injured. So they did get at least one before all the injuries.
Right.
So you're saying that would have been the only one, though?
Basically.
Gentlemen,
Basically. It's like, you gotta think, bro. The Warriors at that point, they were at like, that was like 4 and 5 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they had all the momentum. And then they had KD. He came back from injury. So then it was just even more momentum. I don't know. I just feel like they could ride that wave easy, but maybe that's just my opinion.
No, for sure. I think Kawhi is gonna go down as the best one. Like he's going down as an all-time Raptor, and he was only there for 1 year.
Right.
Pain.
Yeah, I think that I have that as my third best because he turned around that organization like crazy. But yeah.
All right. So there's 2 things I love watching the playoffs. It's game 7s, and it's teams that have not won a championship win a championship here. So this first one is a game 7, 2013 Heat versus the Spurs. Like, I may not like that Heat team, but it gave us a great series. Like game 7, game 6, the shot by Ray Allen. Like those are like time highlights right there. And I think it's just like that when I think NBA during that era, I think Heat versus Spurs. So that's primarily why I put that down as my number 3.
That's a good one. I think that was the first ever finals I watched. Like, that's like one of the best finals matchup of all time. Like,
I feel like that's like one of those
Like a
like
core memory.
staples almost, you know?
Yeah.
mhm.
Just like growing up watching
Right.
basketball, like I still remember where I was when I watched that series. But yeah, that's definitely a good one.
That's a really good one. Let's just talk about each other's 3 before moving on to our number 2. I do have some questions for everyone. So I'm gonna go start with Tyler and ask you about yours. Do you think if the Suns won that finals, do you think the talk around Chris Paul and Devin Booker would be different right now? Because their names are getting slandered a lot right now.
Oh,
after losing.
definitely. It's more so people hate Chris Paul regardless. Like I know I have friends who hate this guy, and I feel like they would just be like, "Oh, that's the only one he gonna get." So they're always gonna downplay him. But maybe Devin Booker, I feel like they probably cut him a little slack. Like I remember it, like the game 6 that when they lost, I just went through Twitter. Some people were like, "Don't ever compare him to Kobe again." This. I feel like he'd have more love than hate because I know Booker has quite a bit of haters too. But it wouldn't be as bad if that makes any sense at all to you guys. I feel like Chris Paul is like one of those players who, like, no matter what he does, he's still gonna get hate. Like, I feel like LeBron's the same. Like, it's kind of like on that LeBron thing. Like, whatever he does, they're gonna be like, oh, and then just try to. Yeah, I think he's that type of player. Like, no matter what he does, there's gonna be people who still hate him, but it wouldn't be as bad as the slander that they got due to the fact that they lost. So that's pretty much it.
And then Eugene, do you think if the Warriors won that, KD would have stayed?
That's a good one. I like that.
You stumped me right there because, like, I mean, he didn't even have to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, he just got hurt. It's not because they lost. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit that he left, but he couldn't play. So, like, that couldn't have been the only reason why he left. But I don't know. Bro, that's a hard question. I'm just going to say yes, due to the fact that him and Draymond butted heads a lot.
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like egos. Also, him, he kind of knew his role, but it was just like him and Clay fighting for number 2, because Steph Curry is always going to be number 1. But I don't know. That's a hard question. That's a hard question. I'm gonna say yes though. I'm gonna say yes.
It was a tough situation because it's Kevin Durant. Of course, he wants a max contract. I'm not sure if the Warriors had the space for him at the time.
Yeah.
So that might have played into it somewhat.
That's true. Money as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't there also a narrative around him that he couldn't like lead like his own team or something like
I
that?
mean, there still is that narrative.
I was about to say.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I'm thinking. But it started around that time though, right? Like as soon as he left OKC.
I think that's why he left. Yeah, because it got to his attention and he was like, I'm gonna do it, and then he got Kyrie, so it just kind of took it away again. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Vaughn, do you think Allen was more pivotal than Wade and Bosch in that series?
Oh,
dang, that's a
More
hard question
pivotal?
too, bro.
Yeah, I know. Getting everybody to
goddamn. Well, I'd say you put together a LeBron, Bosch, and Wade team, and that's your core right there.
Mhm.
But obviously, you can trace back to Game 6, Ray Allen's shot, and obviously, if he doesn't get a shot, they probably lose.
Mhm.
So, you threw a curveball at me with this one.
W host.
Oh me.
I'm just gonna say like a core will always be more important than like the achievements of one individual role player because he's a role player at that time. So I'm just gonna go with Wade and Bosch being more important because let's not forget Bosch grabbed that rebound to kick it out to Ray Allen for that shot. So no
Yeah.
Bosch, no shot, no championship.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I had to come through with the hard-hitting questions for each of you. Okay, our number 2 now. Starting with Vaughn, what's your number 2?
Okay, so Eugene already said this, but I got it ranked higher. Raptors versus Warriors. And I got it because it's Toronto's first championship, and Toronto isn't just Toronto, it's all of Canada. Like all of
Mhm.
Canada claims Toronto as their team. That's not just a city's championship, that's a country's championship right there. And not to mention like the memery that came after, like Drake, the memes with Drake, like the whole look around us, we built this. Like that was like a great era. It's just a great era. Not to mention like Van Vliet like became an NBA player in that series. Like after his baby was born, he went off and everyone knew who Van Vliet was.
Nah, that's true though. That is true.
That is facts.
Yeah, he turned up. I remember he was hitting like I think he hit like this like what was it? He beat the shot clock to beat the shot clock violation over Curry and he banked it in. It was like a wild 3-pointer.
Oh, it was a fadeaway.
It was something
three or
tough. I
something.
just remember he just threw it up and it ding off the board.
He had so many tough shots. There was one where he lost control of the ball, so he had to like dribble around and he shit like that mid range, and it
Yeah.
also went in. Like Fred was like a different man.
He turned Super Saiyan or something like that whole time. I swear, man. It is crazy.
Man.
Plus, not only did Kyle Lowry get his ring, Jeremy Lin did too. You love to
Yes.
see it.
Facts.
Love that, man. After
he went
all
to
the
Taiwan.
disrespect. True.
There you go.
True. Hey, but he got a ring.
That's facts.
Yes, sir.
Insanity, bro.
So for me, it's kind of funny because me and Vaughn basically just switched 2 and 3, but mine's gonna be the Spurs and Heat 2013. Because personally, for me, it was just one of those more memorable NBA finals, and just watching each game, it's just like, dang. And then Game 7, it was like, or Game 6 and 7, it was just like, who's gonna win? Because they were so perfect for each other to go against in those finals. I feel like those are the 2 most perfect teams that you could have put together and put at the highest stage in basketball. But yeah,
It was basically team like free agency versus team draft picks. Like
nah,
basically what
literally.
it was. So yeah. All right. What about you, Tyler? Did you have one we heard too?
Yeah, Eugene just said it.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
damn, I'm thinking the whole time. But I mean, it's pretty much what he said. I ain't even gotta add nothing else.
Right, like it's just
was-
so
You
it was
definitely
like, I feel like that was like the pinnacle, bro. Like that's one of those like
Yeah.
you can't beat.
like that's definitely peak basketball right there. Like, just
Oh, yeah.
man, I don't even know what to say, man. Like y'all pretty much said it, but yeah, that's
Okay. Well, I don't have one we heard yet. I went number 2, and I might get some heat for this. I went the Cavs 3-1 win in 2016 as my number 2. I
Oh,
mean,
I want to number.
All I'm gonna say is number 2 is crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
hey,
Go ahead though. Let's hear it.
I have a feeling that you guys, all 3 of you, have that at number 1.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Um,
fucking dead.
I can't.
How did we all-
It's just at number 2. It's like, damn, especially knowing the circumstances.
Oh man, that means we only mentioned like 4 different championships because
Well, it's
I have
tough. We
It
only
has
got a
10 years
10-year
especially.
span, you know?
And not to mention, like, what 3 of them was like just one team stomping a mud hole on the other.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Warriors.
Cavs,
Literally,
Warriors.
bro. Like
The Warriors.
we think about it. We had 10 years to work with. The Warriors made 6 of those, bro,
That's what, like,
and then they
had
only
you-
won 4. Like, bruh, or not only one, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
like, had you said like all time, I was gonna put Kobe's 2010, like when he won his last one, because well, that's a story for a different time.
Right,
But if
right.
you said
All
all
time
time,
is
I would
so hard. All
yeah,
time
all
is
time
so
is-
hard.
Yeah, but
Okay, my number. Fine, I'm just gonna say my number 1 then, because then we can talk about Cavs 3-1.
bet.
I had the Raptors as number 1,
Oh, okay.
and let me tell you why. I have the Raptors as number 1 because I didn't just look at the finals. I looked at the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Kawhi is the only player to ever hit a Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA history. Like, that's insane. Not only
Mhm.
that, but like we got that image of Embiid. He brought Embiid to tears. A 7-foot
Like-
monster was in tears walking off of the court. Like,
Every time I see that clip of him walking in the tunnel crying, I'll never like not associate it with the Playboy Cardi song "Long Time." Like, swear to God, every time I see it, the song plays in my head. Like Kawhi,
he turned one of the best players in NBA history into a meme, bro.
Nah,
Like,
literally. He crushed that man's soul, bro.
and then yeah, like you guys said, first championship win for Toronto, but also like that's their first time in the finals too. So they're 1-1. Like,
Nah, they're 100%.
yeah, they're
100%
undefeated.
win percentage. What you mean?
LeBron got nothing on Toronto. Like, and then I also have that he's only the 3rd person to have finals MVP on 2 different teams. I think LeBron is one of them. I forgot who the other person was.
I think it's. Is
I
it
think
Kareem?
it's Iguodala.
No.
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 It's not. It's not. It's not.
Hey,
It's not.
I don't know, but
Isn't
I'd be
it
surprised
Kareem?
if it was.
I think it's Kareem, ain't it? Because didn't he win with Milwaukee and the Lakers?
Yeah.
Or am I?
Yeah.
It was him,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, Iguodala. I want Iguodala. Hell yeah.
I want
What?
Iguodala.
Martian's got the death beam. Oh, man, I love Max for that. I don't know why he must have been. I hope he was purposely trolling when he said it, bro. Just
But yeah, like Kawhi is up there with some greats, like, you know,
for
like
sure. Yeah.
Kareem and LeBron. Like, I don't know. I that was my number 1, but
Well, going
you
into
know, obviously I'm in the
the next season, like after they won that, people were like saying like Kawhi is like indisputably like the best player in the league right now, which was crazy. Because like
Yeah.
by that time, it was
That's
just
hard
like,
to say though, because like he was hurt.
Yeah, that's true. He was hurt, but like at the same time, it's just like he was the guy you could look to, like, oh, he finally was the one to dethrone the Warriors. Like, no matter the circumstances, like everyone must
Yeah.
have been just seeing the Warriors in the finals, and he was finally the one to do it.
Also, like that, like he carried that, like he was a one-man army. Like, when was the last time we saw one guy take a team and win? I feel like it was been so long. Like LeBron did it with Kyrie. Like
Yeah, I'm trying
LeBron
to
was a
think.
big reason why they came back 3-1.
No, yeah,
But if he
you see a lot of duos and trios, but you don't see
Yeah.
a lot of solos. So yeah, I see what you mean.
like I think Dirk was the last person. I could be wrong, but I think Dirk was the last one to like just be like, I'm winning us this ring.
It probably was. I ain't gonna lie. That it probably was him.
So like I don't know, like
And that was
that
literally 2011. So that was right outside
Yeah.
of our
Yeah, out
10-year
the
range.
window. No.
and now and since then, like 2019, since then, like no one has done it. Like not one person. It was like LeBron and AD. It was like the Warriors now is maybe Giannis. You can maybe make the argument with Giannis.
Chris. I mean, if
But,
Chris
like, yeah,
was,
Drew
then-
and Chris. You know.
Everyone like yeah,
Drew
you,
for sure. For sure,
yeah,
bro.
like you didn't even hesitate to say other players when I said Giannis. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, but obviously I'm in the minority. Who do you guys have as your number one best chip win?
I wonder what it is. Y'all gonna surprise me today. Let's hear it, y'all.
Calvin 3-1.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I don't
What about
know.
you?
It was just like, bro, like we've never seen a team come back 3-1 in the finals
finals.
ever.
Yes.
Like,
bro.
I feel like that stat alone just, I don't know, just takes the cake. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll always be remembered for that too, which is the crazy part.
Right.
Like,
And then
first
there
Cleveland
wasn't that the
championship.
finals too where LeBron and Kyrie had like 40 each?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where
That was that
41,
one,
41.
right?
Yep. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was that finals.
It was just, I don't know. And then we got the shot and the block
And-
out of that too. I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't know. That shit was just good to me.
Like, it goes in the thing where not only is it a game 7, which I love, it's also Cleveland's first championship. So like, I don't know how I could not have that as number 1 in the last decade.
Right.
Yeah, there was a season, like looking back on it, that season was probably one of the greatest seasons a fan could have ever witnessed. From the Warriors getting the greatest regular season record to the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contest. So what wasn't this the year before KD bounced? They choked a 3-1 against the Warriors,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and then the Warriors choke a 3-1, and then LeBron finally fulfilling his promise to his hometown that he's gonna bring them a championship. And that was the first one in 52 years. Like that whole season was just amazing, but I feel like that win just capped it off. Like that's why I have it up there for sure. Like it was crazy.
Kind of a sidebar, but like 2016
Yeah.
sports in general was just
It was peak.
insane. It was literally
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel
Peak,
like
bro.
that season just adds to the whole myth of like 2016 for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone like is obsessed with
The
2016,
fact-
and like this just adds to it. Like,
That's a fact.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, in high school, we were all in high school during that time. So like we had so much time to watch every second of that series
literally.
and every second of that playoffs. Like, so watching the Warriors, because they were dominating. They were
Oh, yeah.
like, I feel like people forget how dominating they were that 3-1. It wasn't just like a 3-1 when they barely won every time. No, they
Right.
they dominated those 3 wins.
In convincing fashion too. Like,
And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch that series until game 7 because up 3-1, you right to make history. Like no one's done that before. So I'm.
I can't even blame you though, because it was, they were coming off. Wasn't it their first chip?
yeah, last
Or
year.
not their first chip,
Yep.
but yeah, like
That
all of them
too.
together, like their first chip,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and then 73-9 record. So it was just like then they go up 3-1. And it's like, all right, well, whatever. and then all of a sudden, Cavs 3-2, 3-3, game 7. So it's just bro. That was special.
Yeah. It was pretty. I kind of saw that coming, but I also didn't see the fact that we all would only mention like 5 different chip
I don't
wins.
know.
It was hard. It was hard to pick.
Especially in that like the time frame, because
Yeah.
I didn't even consider like I didn't consider 2017 or 18 at all. Like I just
Oh,
I didn't consider them at all.
2017, 2018 was
I
like
did not consider those at all.
those were the years where you're like, man, I hate basketball right now, because you knew Warriors and Cavs, Warriors are gonna win. Like
Facts.
they got KD, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, how did they get KD? And then Kyrie left, and then the Cavs like still somehow made it to the finals. But it was just embarrassing to watch LeBron try his hardest for them to win that series.
This man was doing self alleys. Like, come on, he was doing what he could. He still got destroyed, bro.
The infamous JR like running out the clock.
Oh, okay. So I got a question for y'all now.
Oh, let's get it.
Had JR, because that was game 1, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Had JR actually did something, whether he passed or shot, do you think that would have changed that series in general?
Like the momentum?
Yeah, they would have lost.
Yeah.
They would have lost 4-1.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say that. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Bro, low key, I don't know. I might have gave him 6. I feel like they would have won that game and then at least one at home.
Kevin Love wasn't hurt, was he?
I don't know.
Because I know he be having
honest.
some games where he would really turn it up, but it's like rare. It seems like nowadays.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't really watch the Cavs like that no more. But
I don't
Says,
think
I don't
they
watch
would
at
have.
all.
I don't think it would have changed anything, only because that season LeBron was over like everything. That was the same season where IT and them were on that team and he cleaned house. That was the same season. Like all the people that he did bring in also disappointed him. So even the replacements didn't show up to play. So I feel like LeBron was just like, over it.
I
Just
think
completely over it.
I think
I
one
mean, I
thing.
think you're right, but like it's the finals, bro. Like you can't just like completely give up. You know what I'm saying?
But we've seen him do it before with playoff mode activated just for him to lose. Like,
I mean, I guess that's true too.
I
It's
think one
honestly
thing that
like mythological that he made it to the finals at all. Because round 1, he went to 7 games.
with the Pacers,
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. And
then they
was wrapped.
he swept the
Lost.
Raptors.
So you know what I mean? So like he's gonna get. And then he got taken against Game 7. He was finals with rookie Jason Tatum. So it was kind of like, how did he even make it there at all?
That season was very hilarious. Now I think about it, like what you said, like he was struggling with Indiana and Boston, but he still made sure to like let Toronto know what's up. And it was funny because when he got like Jordan Clarkson and them at the trade deadline, I remember I think it was Paul Pierce's jersey retirement. They blew them out. LeBron over here doing threes on the bench and stuff.
Yeah. Didn't Paul Pierce leave that game early too?
I think he did.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing the clip. Like he left early or something.
Because they blew him out. Jordan Clarkson pulling up on everybody. Oh man, that was just a weird time for Cleveland, and just I don't know. That was just weird. It was funny though.
Yeah, that stretch after 2016, it was like 2017 and through 2018 was like, oh my gosh, like. Do you guys have, before we move on to best finals matchup, do you guys have an honorable mention? Just one that you wanted to put in so badly, but then you're just like, I can't.
That's my favorite matchup, so I'll just say that.
Okay. No? All right. We do have time to do more than one finals matchup. So let's start off with our number 2, starting with Eugene. What was your second favorite finals matchup?
The very low key, even though it's 4-1, the Heat and Thunder, 2012,
That was
because that was KD, Harden, Russ, Kendrick, Serge. Like they were basically, maybe except Harden, they were all in their primes. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like they
Mhm.
meshed so well together, but they were just a little too young to go against, you know, a LeBron and a D Wade and a Chris Bosh.
yeah.
But that's probably my second favorite.
That's a really good one. I think that's the series where Kendrick Perkins was praying for LeBron to injure himself. I think that was that series,
I would not be surprised.
which says a lot about how like desperate, like, cause like the Thunder, yeah, like you said, that was a good team. Like you put that team, well, if you gave that team just a little bit more time, they
Mhm.
could have done some damage. They probably could have won at least one, but it was just too soon for them. It's kind of
Right.
like the Grizzlies now, how it's too soon for them to actually win right now because like they're so young, but they're also so talented.
Mhm. Or low key even like the Celtic, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're not
You got
too young, but I think, you know, with them being in the finals this season, that just gives them more confidence to, you know, try harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a really good
like
one.
a team, like a young team entering their prime and a team already at their peak.
Right.
So
Yeah.
good parallel there.
And I'm not gonna give you any time to think this time so you can prepare yourself. So I'm gonna ask you your hardball question now. If Harden stayed on that team,
On the Thunder,
yes, what do you think would have happened?
well, okay, wait. If so, you're basically saying like if all of them stayed together,
Yes. If
I,
that trio stayed together.
I think they could have won at least one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have because like that was 2012, so that wasn't for a few more years. That KD left, but it's just tough because like at that point he left because of money
Yeah.
and like I guess to like be on his own team.
Also, the Thunder
But
didn't believe in him at all.
that's true because was it a trade or was it a sign?
I think it was a
Trade.
sign and trade.
Yeah, it was a trade.
I just don't remember what they traded for.
Some Skittles.
Literally, it had to be like
In comparison to what he is now, oh yeah.
literally had to be. But I think they could have done some damage had they at least stayed another year together.
Yeah. Especially because all three of them didn't have egos yet.
Literally, yeah.
Like, oh man, like just imagine the non-egotistical like trio, because now they all have huge egos. Like now all three of them are egotistical as fuck. Like no diss, like it's okay, like you're an NBA player, go off. But like I think the three of them now wouldn't get along at all because they're all ball dominant. Like they all basically
Right.
play the exact same way, except for like Russ, not anymore. But like they're all ISO, drive, or shoot a three. Like that's their only like things they do, like, you know.
Right. And it's like, so like obviously, personally, I'm happy for them, you know, growing and developing as a basketball player.
Mhm.
But they all had a certain role on that team. So Harden was sixth man of the year that year.
Yeah.
I think he was sixth man of the year. And then you had Russ actually playing his position, you know, passing, scoring when needed to, and then
Mhm.
KD being the main option, Serge Ibaka blocking shots in the paint, and Kendrick Perkins as just a, you know, a big body in the
Enforcer
paint.
side.
Yeah. So
Enforcer side.
they all knew what role to play and they perfected it. I honestly even like I think had they not went against the Heat in the finals, they might have won.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's no. I think any other team in the East would have lost to the Thunder.
Right, because they were just so good. I don't
Yeah,
remember what seed they were though in the West,
I
but
don't.
yeah,
Yeah, I think had they stayed together, I think their play styles would have accommodated like playing off each other better. Because right now
Yeah,
they're all like ball dominant and everything. If you grow as a player next to other great players, you kind of know your sweet spots. Like, oh, I gotta pass it to him because he shoots that 70% of the time and makes them. So
yeah,
like, it would have been like different players what they are today, but I think a better team.
for sure.
yeah, that's facts. Because also they all played solo at some point in their careers. You know,
Yeah.
Russ on the Thunder, KD.
Never play solo.
Nah, he actually never went solo.
I guess technically you could say when he was on the Sonics.
That's true, but
Oh,
he was like,
he was rookie KD.
yeah, like that was like fresh KD. But I guess like Harden on the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, KD he was main option though when he was on the Thunder, like
Oh yeah,
every year. So, I mean, he wasn't solo, but he was used to being the main option.
yeah. What about you, Vaughn? Number two.
Second favorite matchup. I'm gonna go with Suns and Milwaukee because not only are we seeing Chris Paul like in the finals for the first time in his long career, but it's him trying to get his first ring and Giannis get his first ring. So
Yeah,
it's like two players I like matching up against each other as a team. So it was I couldn't pick a team. Oh, I want this team to win that year or that team. It's just like shit. Whoever wins wins, I guess.
I'd say for mine though, only just because like we're seeing like I feel like it was the start of what they became now. Like when the Warriors won their first one, it's not like necessarily like. Well, I mean, then again, it's also like LeBron going back to the finals for his first time, and everybody was also like, I guess there's a lot at stake. Like the Warriors proving themselves, and then LeBron like, oh, can he do it? So it's like also like a good story right there. But it's kind of like looking back on it, it's kind of crazy to see because I wouldn't have thought like they'd be dominating like this for the next few seasons, like and how they were, and how everybody's trying to shoot now because of Curry. I feel like, well, not like everybody, but
Right.
like I feel like he helped change the game in that sense. But is the reason I put it at second is just seeing like how they've grown because they were, as a young Steph, Clay, and Draymond. They had what Andrew Bogut and Azili, all the
Yeah.
the throwback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about the throwback, but
yeah,
it's just crazy to like looking back on it now. Like it's crazy to see like what they are now, like and where they are in their careers, and they've won what 4 together now. Those 3,
yep.
and what Steph Curry has accomplished, as a player, Clay,
The baby
just
Warriors.
yeah, just looking back on it now is I think it's just crazy. And then, their future, they also got a young team that they're developing. So it's great or it's crazy to see. But yeah, that's my second.
Do you think if the Warriors lost that series, the NBA would be different today?
In terms of what?
Yeah, like
Do you like just a narrative around the Warriors? Like, do you think they would have won the next season and had been as dominant as the next season? Or do you think like 2015 was like they needed that win? Like they needed that win to cement themselves.
I mean, I feel like even if they were to win the next one, like it wouldn't. I feel like it wouldn't change too much though. I mean, aside the fact that like they just lost that year, because like just how they were developing, But and if they still get KD, I don't think that would change too much. I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't think it would change too much personally. I'm just trying to like think on it. That's a good question. So
I feel like it'd be like what the Celtics are kind of in right now.
yeah,
Like Celtics lost. They added, a couple pieces out of free agency.
Yeah.
They probably would have just tried to build through the draft as they've been doing, and just work from there. Really,
Okay.
You know,
No, just at the time, like I don't think the Warriors had Steph and Clay and Draymond on those crazy, ridiculous max contracts yet, so they would have had some wiggle room. I'm fairly sure to sign some good free agents.
yeah. I feel like it wouldn't have like really thrown them off or like would have really like ruined their momentum in a way because they were still young themselves. So I feel like
All
it,
right.
yeah.
Also, I think it's a question of how they would have lost. Like, is it because they were getting
Injuries
scored
or-
on in the paint, or yeah, was it injuries? Like, so
Yeah, I
I
got
think
you.
that plays a part in it.
Okay. Well, my number 2, I did have Cavs Warriors 2016 as my number 2 finals matchup, but we talked about them enough. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna move my number 3 up. I put Heat Lakers 2020 because I felt like
Mm.
I'm a bubble. Like I loved the bubble. A lot of people look back at the bubble and only diss on it, but that was like basketball. Like they were just hooping. Like
No
That
distractions.
whole playoffs actually was amazing.
yeah, like I don't know.
Honestly.
And that was also like since a while. That was like the first like playoffs that I watched full of in a long time. So like just watching like the Heat and Lakers just like go back and forth, and everyone actually thought the Heat might win. Like Tyler Hero was going off and Jimmy was going off.
40-point triple double.
Nah, Jimmy was carrying, bro.
Yeah. And then they had like that the Kobe jerseys they never lost in. Like
Oh yeah, the
Facts.
Mambas. Yeah, tough.
so I don't know. That was just a really good finals matchup just to see like LeBron and AD just cook and like Jimmy and Bam and all them like also like do their hardest to stay in it. Like and everyone was rooting against the Lakers too. Like nobody wanted the Lakers to win.
Literally, except Lakers fans,
Oh yeah.
nobody wanted them to win. Literally.
So like I don't know. I just feel like what like I remember watching Game 6 in like a brewery, like just like eating and watching the entire game and just like being like, damn, like this is real basketball. Like this is insane. So that's my number 2.
I got a question for you, Angel. So
Oh.
if it's not bad. If if Miami were to win, do you think their chip would get discredited like the Lakers is?
Oh
Or
no.
like theirs gets
No.
do you think it's mainly because of who's on the Lakers and stuff like that?
It's because LeBron's on the Lakers.
Yeah,
I don't even
yeah.
think it's because it's LeBron and AD. I think it's because it's just LeBron.
It goes back to your Chris Paul point, you know?
Whatever he
Just
does, he
people
gets
hating on Chris Paul and LeBron, you know?
yeah, okay, yeah. I was thinking that, but yeah.
That was also like when the lay jokes started. So like everyone loved him. Like so of course as soon as he won, lay Mickey, like lay like you know,
Hey Disney, I remember that.
yeah, like that's when like those jokes were new and not overdone. So like
People say it all the time though. It's crazy.
yeah, people say it like lay, what's that? When he was asking what Rainbow Six Siege was. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like I think if the Heat would have won, they would have gone crazy. Like NBA Twitter would be praising Jimmy Butler like the ground he walked on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think it's because it's LeBron. Like nobody took it serious. As soon as LeBron won, all of a sudden the bubbles was easy and yada yada yada. Like as soon as he won, like no one was dissing the bubble until the Lakers won.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah, and now we live in the timeline where they call his kids Le DNA.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good censor on what they actually call him on Twitter. That's a great censor, my guy.
Says if you know, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're watching this, if you know, you know.
So let's do our number ones now. Starting with Tyler, what was your number 1 finals matchup?
I was gonna say like Cavs and Warriors, but now I think about it, like I'm gonna just throw that to the side. I would say it goes back onto what we were saying about the Spurs and Heat, like especially in this time, like in the time frame you gave us. It's just like it was like just two powerhouses going at it. So I would say them. And plus, it went to 7, so like there wasn't like a clear cut. Oh, like just the past couple finals, you'd be like, oh, this team's gonna win it, or oh, this like you didn't know who was gonna win it. So
Yeah.
I would say the 2014 or 20 or 13. My bad, sorry, but yeah, I would say them just because like there wasn't a clear cut winner, and that's how I love like sports anyway. Obviously, no one wants to see it like a one sided beatdown unless you a fan of the team that's mollywhopping the others. But that's my answer.
My favorite, which is, I'm not gonna lie, I had a hard time picking my favorite finals matchup because like I don't think, like you guys mentioned, it's like Spurs, Heat, Cavs, Warriors. Like there's like not that many to choose from really. I'm just gonna say it. The first time that Warriors and Cavs went against each other was my favorite finals matchup. Just like, baby Warriors, and like LeBron still had faith in Cleveland. Like, and also it's like it was a good like matchup. Like you really didn't know who was gonna win.
Mhm.
Like they were both.
I was gonna say, especially on their because they played literally like two different styles of basketball.
Oh yeah. And also like they were both. I think the Cavs were like the second seed, but the Warriors were the first seed. So it was like basically like those were the two best teams in the league. Like it wasn't like the fifth seed somehow made it to the finals. It was like, no, this is number one. This is also like, I think they were second. This was also like a top team in the league. And yeah, like we all said, like no one saw the Warriors like coming in. Like that first ship ring wasn't like, oh, they're gonna be dominating. Like it's set. Like,
Yeah.
no, we were like, okay, like let's see what happens next year. It was just like so shocking. Like no one would have, if you would have told me in 2015, oh yeah, they're gonna be winning rings up until 2022, I would be like, huh? Like no way. Like, oh yeah, you see number 30. Yeah, he's gonna be the best 3-point shooter of all time. Like
Yeah,
no one would have seen that coming.
I would have laughed in your face. I ain't gonna lie. Or I'm like, he's a good player, but hell no.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, LeBron is like gonna leave Cleveland in like 4 years. Like no, like no one saw that coming at all. Like
That's what makes the NBA great, man. You don't know what be happening or what's gonna happen, man. Like, jeez.
yeah, so I put 2015 Cavs Warriors. What about you, Eugene?
Mine. So I tried to keep all my finals like different. I'm not trying to be biased and say the Lakers and Heat. So I'm gonna say, for the same reasons as Vaughn said, the Bucks and Suns. Because, for me personally, it was just exciting seeing two different teams that we haven't seen in the playoffs. And also, it was the first time in forever that they've been to the finals.
Mhm.
And to see Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday get their, first time in the finals, Devin Booker, Ayton, and Chris Paul, first time in the finals. So it was just like, it was cool to see. And then with the Suns, having their franchise record and wins, it was just going to be like, yo, so like, who's going to win? But yeah, that's my favorite.
I also, because I feel like we brought it up 3 times, but we really haven't gone into it.
Mhm.
Their journeys, both of those teams' journeys, were not expected to end in the finals.
Exactly. That's
all.
also what made it so much more special. It was like, if you think about the Suns side, Devin Booker spent his entire career there.
Yeah.
They were at the, like 15
Bottom.
seed, like bottom of the
feeding, bro.
league.
Bottom feeding, bro. For real, they were.
And then
That
you
was-
got the Bucks, young Giannis. Bucks have always been like out of the playoff race, but then you see Giannis's progression and he's just steadily reaching, top of the East or top 3 in the East. So yeah, it's just like it was crazy to see. Like they started from the bottom, now they're here.
Yeah. It was also crazy because that's when the Lakers and Nets like were like expected to duke it out. It was like the
Yeah.
Lakers were beating in the first round, and it was like, what just happened? And the Nets were beating, like, I think when did they leave? Second?
Whenever they faced Milwaukee, I think that was semifinals. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then the Nets like lost, and we're like, hold on, who's gonna win? As soon as those teams got lost, no one knew who was gonna win anymore. Half the
Literally.
brackets were like, oh, well, looks like I'm not getting on 100. Like, you know. Do you guys think back then, looking back, do you think the Suns and Bucks were your like finals matchup after seeing the Lakers and Nets? Like, who did you guys have at the time? Because I don't think anyone had Suns and Bucks.
Well,
think I had-
who were like the main teams
It was
like after like they got eliminated?
after. Oof.
Damn, who was left? I'm trying to think.
It was
No,
like-
Miami got swept that first round, didn't they?
Yeah, that was
They got
another
swept.
thing.
Never mind.
That's when the Miami slander started.
Oh,
Yeah. Then that's when they started calling them bubble guppies. I remember that.
Yeah, bubble guppies.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Really? Bro, on Twitter, they even called them. They photoshopped Jimmy and Tyler on the fish and all that and called them bubble guppies. I thought it was so funny when I first seen
What?
it. Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's probably 'cause the joke hasn't ran on as long as Lil Mickey and all that other, or LaFraud or whatever they call him. But yeah, Miami got mollywopped by Milwaukee. Actually, I don't even remember who was.
they faced the Bucks faced, I think, was it the Hawks in the conference finals? And
Yeah,
after,
'cause
like,
that's when Troy-
'cause that was Trey Young. He killed New York. Yes, he killed New York. Yes.
I remember what.
But I didn't have either of them making it that far though.
That's true. Like,
Yeah,
Do you
That was
think
a
we
good
can?
series though. That was a very good series.
You think we can all agree that we all thought it was Lakers and Nets? Like no one thought any other team would be in the finals. You think?
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
ain't gonna lie, I definitely thought that.
90% of NBA fans had Lakers Nets. We were like, okay, well, it was solidified.
Yeah, I think
Even
yeah, 'cause-
even this season too. Like we still had it was literally Lakers and Nets.
Yeah.
Like
I had
I
some.
don't even think the ESPN rankings
oh yeah,
had like anyone else. Like the after
yeah.
like too early predictions or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even think they had like the Suns or the Bucks going back again. But
Yeah, because I think it was like Sixers and like the Clippers and Mavs and like the Nuggets and Blazers. Like once I saw that we were going against the Suns, I was like, oh, like I thought we were gonna lose in the second round, anyways. But like I was like, hold on, like the Nuggets Suns, like I kind of got excited and we lost, and then that's what I was like, are the Suns gonna go all the way? Like I was like, there's no way. Same with like the Bucks. When the Bucks beat the Nets, I'm like, no other team can beat the Bucks. Like I was like, there's no way they're going all the way. So I think it was just like one of those playoffs where like no one would have saw it coming. Suns and Bucks.
Who was it? Was it the Clippers that faced them in the conference finals? That was the same year Patrick Beverly pushed Chris Paul from behind and all that. Was it them that was it that team that they faced? Like when Kawhi,
I think
remember?
so.
Wasn't that when Kawhi was out with his partial ACL tear, and I think PG got hurt?
I think so because
I'm trying to
the
just
Clippers
remember.
beat the Mavs.
And the Jazz too, right?
Yeah, it was like Jazz Grizzlies in the first round.
Okay. Oh
And,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Ja Morant's first time in the playoffs, and then I don't know if that's when the whole Jazz is a regular season team only thing started.
I'm pretty sure
but
that
it
is.
probably.
I think it was that year. Like when I seen Terrence Mann dunk over Gobert, I'm like, yeah, damn, come on, bro. But yeah,
Well, Vaughn, who was your favorite?
could live without another Warriors Cavs for the rest of my life. I at peace. And Eugene said he didn't want to be biased. I'm gonna go full bias. My favorite matchup was Celtics versus Warriors. Okay. Full bias. because this is the first final series where I was invested every single game for every quarter. Because it felt like both these teams could go down a huge deficit and still come back for the win. Like the first Celtics win, Warriors looked like they were cruising with their 20-point lead, and the Celtics won. So it was just this team I watched all these years, like Brown, Tatum, Smart, watching them grow as players, get so close to the conference finals, and then finally make it and have to face a dynasty. Like, that was exciting for me. Like, I hope I get to see them in the finals, but like this year just felt different. Because like with other championship final matchups, like, oh, I could skip game 2 and I can skip game 5. Oh, they're up 2-1. I don't know if it's. I'll check the score at the fourth quarter and maybe watch. But no, not with this finals. I had to watch. Man, I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah, I feel like that was the second year in a row where the finals was like, oh my gosh, no one saw that coming. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I messaged Vaughn saying GG when it was next Celtics. Like, like, and then they went all the way to the finals. No one saw that coming, and then the Warriors went all the way to the finals, and like, we also didn't see that coming. Like, yes, the Warriors are a good team, but like, they just started playing together. Like, all three of them were injured for like a span of 2 years.
Mhm.
And also, like, even to see that game go to 6 was also surprising.
Yeah.
Because most people thought like Warriors Celtics, oh, Warriors easy. But no, the Celtics like put up a really, really good fight.
I was hearing the L every series. Nets, then 4-0. Bucks, what was it? Game 7. And then
Grant Williams became a demigod in shooting, bro.
That surprised the hell out of me, bro.
Me and my dad watching, we like, I knew bro could get boards and stuff. I didn't know he had a burner like that. Like,
yeah. Well, it's like Suns and Bucks. There was some series with the Suns and Bucks journey where like, oh, they're gonna win the series. But with Celtics and Warriors, I think every series they had, it was gonna be like, oh, Warriors are gonna lose. Oh, Celtics are gonna lose. Like every time it was like Warriors, Mavs. Oh, GG, like Warriors, bye. Mavs win. Celtics, like Vaughn said, Celtics, Bucks. Oh, bye, like Celtics. Like Giannis is amazing. Like they weren't expected to win every series was expected to end with the lose for those two teams.
yeah, I think like what solidified like that Bucks win was like I remember Game 5. I remember there was a point where everybody's like, "Yo, Drew Holiday for MVP." He was locking down Devin Booker every time he was on him, and I think it was that play where he ripped Devin Booker, and on the fast break he lobs it to Giannis. Chris Paul tries to foul, he gets the and one, and when he stared at that camera, I was like, "Oh yeah, y'all done pissed this man off." I feel like that's solidified.
Raps.
Yeah, he stone cold and just looked, and then he just walked to the bench. Yeah, it's been some great matchups for sure, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Last year, I feel like I'm so happy with the pattern we've been taking since 2019.
Yeah, it's finally like different teams, like
yeah, different teams and unexpected. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who was gonna win, Warriors and Celtics. Literally no clue.
Right.
Because as soon as like I saw it was like game 4, like I was like, hold on, like this might go to 7. I was like,
bro, I thought because they won game 1 in Golden State.
Was that when they came back from the 20 lead or whatever? 20 lead?
Something like that, yeah.
Was that when Horford was turning up?
Yeah,
Horford
yes,
and Derek White
that was that exact.
Yeah, they were turning up. They were turning up, right? Yeah, okay.
And I was like, they're at least. I mean, I thought they were going to win 3 games. Like, I thought they were both of their games at home. So I was like, this really might go to 7. But they just didn't perform at home.
Yeah, it just goes back to that, like, young versus experienced teams thing, you know, like how to stay consistent throughout every game, every quarter for a whole series.
Right.
So, it is.
yeah. as a Boston fan, Avon, how like getting told that your team was gonna lose 24/7, like, were you ever like, oh, they might be right, like, or did you have faith the entire
No,
playoffs?
no, because not after we were the 11th seed this year. All right, we were the 11th seed, and if I was gonna like doubt my team, that's when I would have done it. I'm like, they have a new coach. There's a new system going on. They just gotta get adjusted. And first, it's like, all right, we have to become a playing team. All right, we're a playing team. Now we gotta become a playoff team. Oh, we're a playoff team. Let's get a high seed. And the thing that felt so good going into the Bucks series is last game of the season, Bucks sat their starters and they were tied with Boston in the standings at the time. And Boston played their starters. Bucks lost, Celtics won. Celtics became 2 seed and had home court advantage. So even going to that series, you got to face the former champions. It's like, I feel confident we can win this. So just every series, there was something to like to believe in the team at the time.
All right, and we're gonna end it there on a feel good Boston Celtics story.
Yes, sir.
Um, you know, good session for the first video ever. Next week's topic is gonna be, just to give you guys a little teaser, best teams and players not to win. Teams that players that could have a ring, and like a team that you're like, man, they could have gone a ring. And we might have said some today. We mentioned Thunder. We also last week we mentioned Clyde and Charles Barkley. So there are a lot of teams and players who never won, but deserves one. Make sure you guys rate us 5 stars. Give us that like on YouTube, because now we're on video.
Sir.
Yep. Now that we're also on video, we do have TikTok, just to let you guys know. It's exactly the handle as our Twitter, Spin the Rock. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Yes, sir.
Whoop.